Ukraine's president on Capitol Hill today urging lawmakers for more funding in the war against Russia. But this catfight happening among House Republicans is drowning out those pleas. By which Republicans, you might ask? Well, as House Speaker Kevin McCarthy puts it, those that want to, quote, burn the whole place down. All of this as a government shutdown looms over the country. And guess what? Sources are telling CNN that House Republican leaders just sent their members home for the week. I want to bring in Republican Congressman Mike Lawler of New York and Democratic Congressman Josh Gottheimer of New Jersey. All right, let's start there. Congressman Lawler, as we just reported, your leadership is telling members they can go home for the rest of the week and the weekend. There have been plans for some votes tomorrow and Saturday. What's going on there?
Well, as you can see, I'm still here. I was just in a meeting downstairs in the whip's office, continuing the conversations. Many of my colleagues are still here working, discussing, because we are 9 days away from a shutdown, and we cannot afford to go down that road. I have said from the very beginning, I will do everything in my power to avoid a shutdown, and that's why I'm still here working and here with Congressman Gottheimer, because we need to be able to have these conversations not just within the House Republican Conference, but on both sides of the aisle to avoid a shutdown.
All right, we're going to talk more about that in a second, but Congressman Gottheimer, look, your colleague there across the aisle, Congressman Lawler might still be there, but others, they might be going home. They've just been given the all clear to go home amid all of this. What do you make of that?
Listen, what I make of it is it's incredibly frustrating when the country looks at us and says, why can't you get your work done? Which is, frankly, when you have 9 days to a shutdown, why yesterday and late into the evening, the Problem Solvers Caucus, a bipartisan group of 32 Democrats and 30 Republicans, we sat in a room and put together a bipartisan agreement to actually keep the lights on in the government, make sure that people, our veterans, our seniors, the military doesn't suffer with an unnecessary government shutdown, and keeps the country moving forward. I think that's the kind of work we need, and right now, letting the extremists on the far right control things makes no sense to me. I think common sense should prevail, and that's what we've been working on.
All right, Congressman Lawler, you said today that you're not going to be a party to a shutdown, but I mean, what are your plans to not be a party, to prevent that? Because that's exactly the direction to which this seems to be headed.
Well, as I said, I just came from a meeting. I continue to push for the use of a continuing resolution to keep the government funded. I agree with many of my colleagues that we need to reduce spending. With all due respect to my colleague standing next to me, obviously over the last 2 years, spending increased dramatically. I do want to rein that in. I do think that's why the American people elected a House Republican majority. But they elected us to govern, and we have that responsibility. And so I say to my colleagues on the right, yes, we got to rein in spending. Yes, we need to work through the appropriations process, but we cannot inflict pain on the American people in that process. A shutdown will only hurt the American people, and that is what I am trying to avoid. It's why I am willing to work across the aisle to ensure a CR passes, but I will continue to talk to my colleagues in the House Republican majority to impress upon them the need to work together to govern. We are in a divided government. The Democrats control the Senate and the White House, so we're not going to get everything we want, and we have to work together to get there.
And I'll just say there's a huge difference between, and as Mike was pointing this out, between what's reasonable and what's draconian. Right. The stuff coming out now that we're reading about in the caucus about what they want to do to families in this country is draconian and crosses the line. There's a place for reasonableness, and including, by the way, as we've been doing, focus on paying down the debt. We've got a fiscal commission that we've also suggested as a way to move forward here, because I think you want to look at long-term debt and deficit issues, but not hurt people, not hurt our veterans, not hurt our seniors, not cut military pay, right? And make sure we look out for people. And there's a way to do both, and that's actually what we're proposing here, is a reasonable, common sense, bipartisan way forward. And you cannot bend to extremism. And I think that's one of the big lessons of right now for the Republicans, that the extremists don't want to solve problems. They actually just want to muck things up and burn the place down, as Speaker McCarthy said.
Well, and as somebody coming from New York, one of the biggest crises that we're dealing with right now is the migrant crisis. And dealing with our southern border is critical. And even within this framework, we have bipartisan agreement to work towards securing our border. And I think these issues are so critical, and it's so important that we put aside differences and focus on solving the problem advancing forward the work on behalf of the American people, keeping the government operating, and continuing to work through the appropriations process in the coming weeks to make sure that we get a budget and a bill for the American people that puts them on the right fiscal path forward.
Let me follow up with you. You bring up the border. We heard Speaker McCarthy today, amid this visit from Ukrainian President Zelensky, say, look what's happening at our southern border. How can we be focused on, what's going on in Ukraine when we have all of this happening at the border? But Congressman Lawler, your colleague, Congressman Byron Donald, said Tuesday that it's not a good time for Zelensky to be here and that the House is essentially broke. And I'm wondering what you think about that. What kind of message does that send to the international community?
Well, listen, I was proud to welcome President Zelensky here earlier today. I saw him in the hallway, greeted him, and I told him I will continue to support the effort in Ukraine. My wife is from Moldova. Her family lives about 30 miles from the Ukraine border. So this is personal. I mean, the reality is if Ukraine were to fall, other former Soviet satellite countries would fall with it. And we need to be resolute. Vladimir Putin is a vile dictator and thug. I have supported funding in Ukraine, and I will continue to do that, and the vast majority of Congress does. Yes, I understand my colleagues' concerns about transparency and accountability in how these funds are spent. I support that. But we cannot give up on this mission and let Vladimir Putin be successful.
But the reality is polls are showing that American support for Ukraine is waning. Congressman Gottheimer, on that note, how do you convince Americans who are living paycheck to paycheck that funding Ukraine is somehow the United States' responsibility a year and a half into this war?
Because if Putin wins and is able to spread his hate and tyranny across the region, as Mike was just talking about, the cost to America would be significant. And the threats to American citizens would be significant. We're the greatest country in the world. We can make sure we fight dictators and take care of America. And we need to do both, as we have throughout our history. And that's what I say to folks. And by the way, they're on board. They understand Putin running wild is unacceptable. And frankly, we just got to keep up the fight, but also make sure we fight for them, which is exactly what we're doing right now, fighting back against the ideas of some of the extremists who say we need to actually defund security, hurt law enforcement at home, hurt our veterans, hurt our seniors, which is unacceptable. Right? And in our plan that we put out in the Problem Solvers Caucus, a bipartisan group, it includes support for the Ukraine with transparency, with accountability. All of those things are important. And I guess that's the big takeaway. You can do both if you're smart. You can make sure you're fiscally responsible and invest in the things we need in our country. That's exactly what the both of us are working on.
All right, Democratic Congressman Josh Gottheimer of New Jersey and Republican Congressman Mike Lawler of New York, thank you both for that conversation.
Thanks.
Thank you.